Hello, my name is Isaiah Esquivel, and you're listening to the Chain Clankers podcast.
You're listening to the Chain Clankers podcast with your hosts, Quentin Ferris and Horatio Gonzalez. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Horatio here from the Chain Clankers podcast. I am here today with Quentin Ferris. Today we talked to Isaiah Esquivel. He is another sort of local for us here out of Emporia, Kansas. If you guys know where Emporia is, it was rated the #1 small town for disc golf in the United States by UDisc for 2020. It's literally, they got courses everywhere. And Isaiah is a Dynamic Disc sponsored athlete who Dynamic Discs is also out of Emporia, Kansas. So a really cool story today. We got to talk to him and just about his family. But here's Quentin to tell us more about what you can expect from this episode.
Yeah, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk about Isaiah and how he got started in disc golf. Like last week with Nolan, we got another really young guy. You know, Isaiah is only a sophomore in high school, so this is back-to-back young gun shows. So you're probably going to be hearing these guys' names in the years to come. So we talk about his journey through disc golf. His story is crazy. The first ever tournament this guy plays in, and he wins by 20-plus strokes. You're going to want to hear how that happened. We talk about the Emporia disc golf scene, how it potentially could or could not be the disc golf capital of the world, his thoughts on the Emporia disc golf scene as well. And then I think something that's really important is, you know, a lot of us have busy schedules. Isaiah does as well, but how do you fit disc golf into that schedule? That's exactly what we talk about on today's episode. We figure out how to fit disc golf into our busy schedules and little things that you can do to make disc golf more active in your life and have more time for it. So, and you know, time is very important. So I think that was a very fun discussion, as well as at the end of the episode, we talk about whether pay to play disc golf is good or bad for the sport. I give a raging hot take on it, and you're not going to want to miss that. If you have thoughts on that, we want to hear them. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers and let us know, should disc golf become pay to play? Should some courses not be pay to play? We want to hear what you guys are thinking on that. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's bring Isaiah in here and let's get into this interview. What is going on, Isaiah? Super excited to have you on today's show. Another local guy here in Kansas out of Emporia. Super excited to talk to you. I've seen you at a couple tournaments, and I've seen you absolutely tearing it up. So super, like I said, super excited to talk to you. How are we doing today, my man?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Glad to have you here. Let's, I guess, kind of talk a little bit about your journey. You know, still obviously a pretty young guy. How long have you been slinging?
So I've been playing disc golf for about 8 or going on to 8 years now. And I think I got my start when my dad started taking me out to disc golf, like how usually disc golfers get their stars when, or young disc golfers stars when their dad or the family starts taking them out, and then they let them throw the disc around. And then I wanted, as a young disc golfer, I always liked to go on the playground because I think I was around about 8 years old. And so I think my dad would give me a disc and he would let me throw it around a couple times, and then I would tell him, hey, I'm going to go to the playground and then I'm going to throw it a couple times, or no, I want to go on the playground and then I want to go play there. So, and then he would tell me, okay, I'll come get you after the round. So, I mean, as a young disc golfer, I always wanted to do different things. But after I started getting actually into it, then I started actually wanting to play more than instead of going on the playground. So it's pretty much the beginning of it. And then I played my first tournament in 2015, the 2015 Trilogy Opna. I think I took first by 20 or 30 strokes, and then I know. So,
My gosh, are you 20 or 30 strokes?
Yeah. And then I caught the attention of Eric McCabe, and he was like, man, he not only did he beat his division, he beat the division above him by like 15 or 20 strokes. And so making that the first tournament was, I mean, it was mind-blowing. to my parents.
Yeah.
It's an experience I won't ever forget. And I remember especially the day before. I think it was if you were to win or ace with all trilogy discs, you'd get a bonus or something. And so I played, I think, with Innova and a little bit of DD. And then I think uh, I didn't know my disc at the time, so my dad would write straight, understable underneath the bottom of the disc because I didn't know what it did at the time. And so, well, that's again, that's an experience I will never forget. So,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. So are you almost like, let's talk a little bit about your family, because I mean, like Quinn said, we've seen you at a couple of tournaments here. We played one up in Manhattan or Lawrence. I think you guys were at the Lawrence one. It was a fundraiser one.
Oh, the
And
big drive.
Yeah.
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 And I mean, you're there. Usually your brother's there. I think your dad, maybe your uncle also play. Like, is this a family thing? Like, you played pretty young. So, like, how long has your dad been playing, and who got your dad? Like, where does this come from for your family?
So I think I don't know if you guys know Bruce. He's the one who actually got us all starting to play disc golf, and I think he started in like 2009, 2010, and he started playing out there on the tournament scene, and then he got the attention of my dad, and my dad started liking playing it, and so all the brothers started playing, and so after my dad started playing, he got me into playing. So it kind of like chain reaction, kind of like, and it was fun. I think one time we had a whole family round. It was fun. I'll tell you what.
Have you guys ever done like a, I don't know, like a doubles against each other, and whoever loses ends up having to pay for lunch for everyone?
We might have, but I couldn't tell you because it was probably a long time ago.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome, man. I feel like a lot of our listeners out there, especially if they have children now or will in the future, really want their children to get into it as well and just be able to have that bonding experience. And obviously, that's been great for your family. Like I said, I've seen you got your guys' names all over the top divisions and the tournaments around here, and obviously having a ton of success. So that's really, really cool for you guys. So, you mentioned how you were kind of sort of throwing in of a little bit of trilogy, and then obviously winning by 20 plus strokes in your first ever tournament, getting the attention of Eric McCabe, a world champion, very big with dynamic discs. So let's sit down there for a quick second. What was that like? Was it, after the tournament, he kind of came to you and was like, hey, we want to work with you. We see a lot of potential in you. Or, was that just kind of the start of them having their eye on you, and you obviously continued to perform and then inevitably was able to pick up that sponsorship with Dynamic?
So I think how it started was Eric talking to me a little bit after the tournament, and I think what I'm assuming now is Eric went to Dixon at the time was a team manager. Okay, and I think my dad or Dixon sent an email to my dad about being a potential team player. And I remember the day that we went to the warehouse for the first time to go pick out discs and get all my T-shirts and stuff. And my dad didn't tell me anything about it because I thought we were going to go out, because I think it was a Sunday and when I was watching football, because of course I got to watch football on Sundays.
I got to interject real quick. Please tell me you're a big Chiefs guy, right?
Uh-uh.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Who's your team? Who's your team?
Seattle Seahawks.
Oh my
I know
gosh.
they lost in the first round, but they deserved it. They didn't really deserve to go to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say that loss to I can't remember the backup quarterback for the Rams. His name was like Wolford or something like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
then Jared Goff with four fingers came in and beat him. So yeah, I'm sorry about that one. But all right, yeah, sorry for interrupting. Keep going, my man.
So I remember it was a Sunday, and I thought we were going to like a Walmart or something, and then we end up going to the warehouse. I'm like, "What are we doing here?" And he's like, "We got a little surprise for you." And then Dixon introduced me to the team, and I'm pretty sure what is his name? Eric. Eric told Dixon about it, so I think that's how I got my start into it. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Let's talk a little about how. So you're from Emporia, and I don't know if for people that don't know, Dynamic Discs is out of Emporia. So, like, how nice is that to have, your sponsor being in the same town that you're from, or just having them right there?
So it's a lot easier because I don't have to order stuff and I can just go pick it out when I want to. I can go to the store downtown. I can go to the warehouse, but I think I have to tell them because all the COVID protocols and stuff. Um, I can't just. Well, I work there too, so
Nice.
I stock the shelves whenever I can because it's a part-time job, of course, because disc golf is always first to me. But anyways, it's easy. It's
Yeah.
really good. I can go pick out all the good discs too. So
Nice.
So,
So, I was gonna say, I bet when you're stocking those shelves, you definitely take advantage of that and
yeah.
ensure you're getting the best discs possible.
Mhm.
so disc golf is pretty much your life right now then. I mean, you said it's just a part-time job, but you're playing disc golf almost full time, and then your
Mhm.
part-time job is disc golf pretty much.
Mhm.
And I mean, so you're still, because how old are you? You're still in high school, right?
Yeah, I'm a sophomore in high school.
Jeez,
Golly,
that's
making me
awesome,
feel
man.
old.
So how do you work your schedule around? Let's talk a little about tournament, like how you pick your tournaments, like where, how far you travel, like being a high school student, I'm sure there's a lot of players who want to go to tournaments and stuff. How you get there and just, yeah, how you decide that with school being your full-time thing, how
Mhm.
you make disc golf your second full-time thing. How does that work for you?
So school I think goes from 8:05 to 3:39. So anytime after, because I think it's like 2 hours after the sun starts going down, and
Yeah.
by 6 o'clock it's already dark. And so if I don't feel like I want to go play today, I'll go to the warehouse and stock shelves for about 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll come back home, finish up my chores, and then I will putt for 30, 40 minutes. I just fit disc golf at the end, pretty much. If I don't do it first, then it's so pretty much any time of the day. I always fit disc golf because if if you want to be the best, you have to pretty much put a lot of effort into it. So that's my goal. I want to. If you don't know already, I really want to be the best disc golfer. And the only thing I can do that is if I work hard and put a lot of effort into it. Well, I had to save some effort for school too, so
Yeah.
or I'll be yelled at. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think that's a very good attitude to have, right? You have to want to put the effort in. You have to want to care about it. You have to. It's one of those things where that motivation has to come from within you in order to do it. And obviously, just hearing your answers and hearing, how you feel about disc golf. Going to school, and then if you don't want to go throw that day, you're gonna then go stock shelves and then come home and continue to putt for another 30, 40 minutes. We talked to Tristan Tanner a couple episodes ago, and he said there was a point where he was getting up 1,000 putts a day, and for a month straight, and that's going to make you a better putter. And obviously, with how young you are, you still have got so much time to achieve so much. I think a good comparison might be Calvin Heimberg. That guy cannot be older than 22, and I want to say, on some sort of coverage I heard, they were like, yeah, he was choosing between either going to like engineering college or disc golf, and he chose disc golf. And obviously, look at him now. He's had a very good career. He's going to continue to have a great career. And, those are the same things that we're going to be saying about you. And so I think that's really cool that you have that attitude right now and that you want to do that, which, yeah, like I said, I think that's really cool, especially for someone at your age. I think you have to have that mentality at this age if you do want to be the best.
Hmm. Exactly right.
Yeah. So talking about these tournaments, being a high school student, obviously, unless it's Emporia, or even then, I'm assuming that your dad probably has to drive you there. Is he competing in those also? Kind of how do you determine how to make your tournament schedule? I know a lot of the top tier pros right now on Instagram are putting out their schedules where they're planning on going. Do you have anything kind of like that? Is it just kind of like, I'm going to check disc golf scene and kind of see where I want to go play this weekend, that kind of thing? Or, how do you determine what tournaments you're going to play in?
So this year is actually the first year I decided to look on disc golf scene and actually make a rough draft. Because I actually have a rough draft around here somewhere of what tournaments I want to play. And as a young kid, I played these tournaments for like 5 or 6 years. So of course I want to go back to them and play them. And so yes, you're right. I actually do go on disc golf scene what tournaments I want to play. So if it's like I want to say if it's under 2 hours, roughly an hour and 30 minutes, and closer, then I'll actually want to go to these tournaments because the more tournaments I go to, the more experience I'll get, and hopefully the more wins I can get. Not saying I will win, but I'm saying more possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And what about, do you have some bigger tournaments in mind that this year you'd like to play, some out of state, stuff like that?
So I really want to play Worlds because I got invited for the one last year, but it got canceled. And so I really want to go to that. And that's the only one that's on top of my mind right now. And there was talks actually, I think it was like last year, maybe going to MVP Open. I mean, it's up to Bruce if he's still down, but I really want to go to that one. So
Nice.
there,
I'm assuming you're going to be in the DDO this year.
yeah.
And so I imagine as well, probably anytime there's a tournament in Emporia, which I feel like happens at least every other weekend in the summer, you're going to be playing those tournaments.
Of course, yep.
Yeah. And so I guess with Dynamic, is there any kind of like, hey, you have to play this amount of tournaments, or is it just kind of like, hey, we want you to, play what you're comfortable with?
They're like they want to see you, like if let's say you're juniors or ambassadors, they want you to play like I think like 5 to 8 tournaments. I mean, just depends on your tier, but I don't think they're too worried about me because I'm always playing tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Go ahead.
I said I could imagine that's one of those things where you're an athlete for them, kind of like a sponsor for them, and they're sponsoring you. So the more you're playing, they're seeing you active. They want to continue to have you on their team.
Yeah, I want to say the more benefits they'll give you too. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I guess it's one of those things, and maybe we'll talk a little bit here about your sponsorship with Dynamic Disc, because I think it's really cool. I imagine you're one of the only kids in your high school who has a sponsorship right now, regardless of what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's obviously very cool for you. How has that kind of changed your game, do you think? Maybe kind of throwing a little bit of a mixed bag to only going to DD. Did you have any troubles with that, or what's it kind of like now? Have you just gotten so used to it that it's like, hey, I'm a DD guy?
I think the first time I went to the warehouse, I had my bag with me in the car. And shout out to Daniel George. He was like, okay, this disc is like this. And like this disc is like this. So I'll just throw them. Actually, pretty similar. And that's pretty much how it was. Like you comparing discs to each other. And yeah, every disc I had, they were DD or Trilogy had it. So it was kind of hard, kind of easy. Some like, if I had like a Boss my bag, because I did have a Blizzard Boss. That was my my main go-to disc, and I think I had my max distance with that disc at the time. And so I think they had like a Ballista out at the time, and it was kind of similar, but it didn't go as far as the Boss it did. But yeah, I would say it was sort of easy to switch over. So
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about distance. How much are you throwing these days from like where you started from your first tournament?
well, people noticed that I don't throw as far as I used to, but I can probably throw maybe 500. In my opinion, I can throw at maybe 500. Um, and people started noticing it. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was because I mainly focused on technical shots, not bomb distance shots. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I'd rather take, like I said, I'd rather take I'd rather take technical shots than distance shots any day for some reason. It's just if I need that distance, I have enough distance where I can get these shots. But yeah, I'd rather get technical distance than.
When you say technical, are you talking more like woods golf technical, or are you talking about like your form being clean and crisp and like having an accurate shot?
Like hitting a tight gap in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That shots is what I'm referring to.
So for your practice time, let's talk real quick here. Are you spending more time in the field, wide open field, just kind of throwing, working, and imagining kind of on shots like that? Or are you actually going out and just playing courses and kind of getting the practice through there? Because I imagine, anyone can imagine there's a tunnel that you have to throw through for your practice in a wide open field, but it's obviously not the same as actually having to do it.
Mhm. Well, here in Kansas, we don't really get a whole lot of woods. So where I'm living right now, it's pretty much a wide open field. So I can't really practice those technical shots. But what I do during my time, so we have I think a 30 or 40-minute lunch period during the day for our school, and I think I go outside and throw up shots and forehands for about 20 minutes. So I think I grab a stack of harps, a stack of blend Marshalls, and then I think I grab like a defender or a raider to practice my forehands. I just practice those smaller shots that are really crucial and what's that word? Like I don't know what that word is. Like important moments. I practice those crucial shots. Like
Yeah.
if it's really windy outside, I'll go outside and practice those shots because in wind it's a lot different. You'll get a really strong left to right. Well, then I'm going to throw a backhand forehand because you don't want to go with the wind. You have to go against the wind. So, you know what I mean?
And here in Kansas, we get a lot of that wind. I mean, I feel especially, um, I think during the DDO, it's not quite. I think one of the days last year was pretty windy, and then it kind of settled down. But some of those players who aren't used to that Kansas wide open wind, they struggle. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely an advantage for you to be practicing with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, I want a little curious about. Let's talk about Emporia a little bit more here. We're just about. You said how Quinn was saying you're one of the few, just a student in your school who's sponsored, and disc golf is pretty big in Emporia. I think it was voted by UDisc like this, the number one disc golf small town in the country
Mm-hmm.
for 2020 or something. So is disc golf a little more like popular and normal in your high school? Because I know some people we've talked to on the interviews before, they're like, yeah, me and my buddies would play, but disc golf was kind of weird, or most people don't know about disc golf. Is it a little bit different there in Emporia?
I mean, people know about it, and well, in high school, we used to have a disc golf club, and we would, yeah, of course, you would have like a disc golf club in Emporia, but I think it's people know about it a lot more than like Wichita. I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. Because you drive around Emporia, you just see courses everywhere. I don't know how many courses there are, but I know when we went up to a tournament, we drove to the wrong place because it was like a church or a school, but it also had a course on it. I think it was like the community college or a high school, but they had a course on the grounds.
mhm.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
you see a lot of businesses with, disc golfers welcome, or they literally the place that we ate. We went to the Trilogy Challenge at, I want to say it was a church or something like that, and up there in Emporia, and then we went and ate somewhere, and they literally just had a basket in their parking lot for people to
mhm.
go practice on, I guess, if they wanted.
Yep. So I mean, disc golf is if you like turn a corner, you'll see a basket, but sometimes I feel like they exaggerate because I think they're then I feel like I don't think we're disc golf Disneyland just because that if you go to a course like right now, I feel like you probably will only see like one or two people out there.
Yeah.
So I feel like they did over exaggerate just a little bit. I think where disc golf Disneyland is in California, honestly, whenever you go to like La Mirada or the Huntington Beach courses, you'll see hundreds of people out there. And I wish we had that here, but we only get a few people out here. But
Really, that's interesting. I would feel as though there would be more folk out there, but I mean, I know we went to Hammond one time. It was literally that day that we did the trilogy. We got done with it, and then we went to Hammond. We were going to go to the country club, but I guess they weren't allowing anyone to participate because it was like the week before the DDO. So they were just, had it off so only the pros could practice on it. So we just played Hammond because it was right there. And I was going to say, I think we might have only seen one other group maybe,
yeah,
So I know you guys got a ton of different courses there, and you just said that you would maybe consider California or Huntington Beach or anything over there, more of a disc golf Disneyland, disc golf capital of the world. A lot of people have referred to Emporia as a disc golf capital of the world. Would you, continue to say that it's maybe not Emporia and that Emporia just has a lot of courses and thankfully they have DD? Has that maybe, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
I think the only time I see signs of a disc golf capital of the world is when DD comes around, or a tournament that we're running that's a B tier, like at Jones or something. Then I feel like I can see more disc golf of the world, but that's the only time I see it. And why I say Huntington Beach is because even if you go out there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll have a backup, and it's just and then it gets worse as time goes on, because you have like a group that's throwing, and then you're waiting on another group to throw after them. So I would like to see that more, but I don't see anything time soon. I don't see any signs yet. So
I don't know how much you've played out there, like on the West Coast and stuff a lot, but do you see any differences in like the way, I guess, just how people carry themselves at courses or how they play like at courses between like here in the Midwest and on the coast?
yeah, I love the West Coast. Honestly, I love the West Coast disc golf scene, just because you'll get new friends. Because I know that one of my friends that used to live here, our Halifax, shout out to him. He uh he moved from here to California, and he got a group of friends already. Um, and so I was really impressed, because if you come here, you might get a couple of friends, because they're pretty. It just depends on who you run into, because I think I ran into some really cool people just playing on the disc golf course. But I think in California, I think you'll, like, if you find a group of people and you're like, "Can I jump in?" You'll instantly like them already. Just depend, because I mean, out there at the disc golf scene, they're really nice. I haven't run into anybody that's being mean or being a jerk. So I think I just see a different vibe from West Coast disc golf than Emporia disc golf, honestly.
Yeah. And, hopefully we'll start to see I'm not going to say turn around, but we'll see more people getting into it. I think, with the ESPN and the CBS coverage, I think more of that will kind of transition here. You'll see more people in like Manhattan, Lawrence, Wichita start to continue to get into the sport, and they'll want to, continue to go out and play. And I personally will say I don't enjoy having a backup all the time. So I'm cool with people going out and playing, but let's not have the backup. I hate when there's someone just standing on the tee pad staring me down while I'm trying to play a hole. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Let's not have that happen. Let's be efficient out there. But I do think it's cool nonetheless that you guys have so many courses. DD is there, and that you guys have the store there as well. So I do think Emporia is a really cool place. There's a couple of tournaments that I know I want to get down to Emporia and play this year. So I guess real quick before we get into the ace round, I want to talk a little bit about pay to play courses. And we'll have another episode sometime expanding on this, but I want to get your thoughts here, because I think Emporia is kind of special because they have the country club, which you have to pay to go play at, whereas they have literally Hammond, which is right across the street, which is free. So what are your thoughts on pay to play courses? Do you think it's good or bad for the sport?
I think it just depends on the course first. I think if you go to like a course like Clover Cliff, I don't know if you have ever played that course, but I think uh, it's good to pay to play just certain courses, because the owner at Clover Cliff actually built bridges and cut out a lot of trees, and I think the bridges cost a lot of money. So I think he's just trying to get profit back off of those bridges. But if you go to a country club, I think it's okay, because they built the bridges, then they're putting cement in the ground, because I think the only reason why they're doing that is because they're making profit off of DD from all the players. Because I don't know, remember if there was a tournament, I think 2 years ago, the Country Club Classic, and that was the only year they did it, because I think DD lost a lot of profit off of it. And so I think it just depends on the course, honestly. And I think I don't know if I can answer like this. It's okay to do it sometimes, just depending on the circumstances. So,
Yeah, I think especially with it getting busier now, Clovercliff, we've been wanting to get out there, but I mean, that's like a private land. He's doing it out of his own just to be nice, let people on his property. So that's completely understandable. And I mean, especially with how much the game is growing, we look at places like you were talking about in California. You'll have courses at 7 in the morning where they're busy all day. I think you're gonna see more of these pay to play courses just to try to control that. All the people that don't want to play, feel free. You can go to the free public courses and play and have a 30, be backed up every hole. And then these where you can pay, and they might still be backed up if it's places are super busy, but it'll be more control. It'll be, less people backed up, and you feel more comfortable playing. So I think we'll probably see a lot more of that in these coming years with so many new players.
yeah, exactly.
And if I can throw 2 cents here real quick, I think something that if it's going to be pay to play, I think the course has to be pretty spectacular, right?
Mhm.
So the ranch obviously is spectacular course. Want to get out there. I think that's cool pay to play. But there's a course here in Manhattan where you have to pay to play it, but it's just a regular course. There's absolutely nothing special about it. There's no big difference between anything else. So in my mind, it's like, well, why pay the green fees to go play here when I
Mhm.
can just go for free and go out to Fairmont or something like that, and then I don't have to pay the money because it literally there's absolutely nothing special about it. It's just a course, 18 holes, like that's it. It's
Are you
it's
talking? Are
Go
you
ahead.
talking about the lake?
Yeah, I'm talking about the lake. Yeah, I'm talking
I feel
about Turtle
like
Lake.
I feel like that doesn't count. I feel like you're paying. It's a
You're paying to
parking
get to the
permit to get on the
lake.
lake.
Yes,
You're going to
I
play disc
understand
golf.
that, but my thing is you still have to pay to get in to play, right?
Are you guys talking
So
about the one with the veterans on it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, the other one, I guess, is golly, I'm gonna mess the name up. I don't even here. Let me see if I can't find it on UDisc. There's another one in Manhattan that you have to pay to play. It's like it's some K-State affiliate, something like that.
Is that the one with
Um,
like black or brown baskets? I
I
think.
think it's University
Yeah.
Park,
Yeah.
UP. You have to pay to play that one. I've never even played it because it's not special, and I'm not going to pay the money to go play a course that's not special, and it's only giving somebody else profit, I guess, if that makes sense. Like where the ranch, it's, this guy put his own money into it, made it something really cool, so I want to give back to that person, and so I'm all for paying for that. I don't want to go and pay for something that's the same thing as literally going somewhere else in town. That's
Mhm.
my 2 cents on it.
That makes really good sense. And I think the only time I would pay for a tournament or course to play it is right before a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'd honestly dig out the money just to go play it. That's
Yep.
the only time I probably would.
I agree with that. Like, if I was gonna go play, University Park tournament, then yeah, I'd do that. Same thing with the lake. I mean, literally, we did that when over the summer there was some tournament there. I think I played it like 3 or 4 times before the actual tournament, and that's cool. And also, the lake does offer a package where it's like you pay $25 and you can go unlimited. So, I mean, I really don't have that much to be complaining about.
I feel like that one doesn't count. I feel like that one shouldn't count. That's pay to play.
I mean, it's the
It's a
lowest like tier of pay to play. I'll say
it,
that. It's the absolute like bare minimum. But I
yeah,
mean, I'll just go to the other example of University Park. It's literally pay to play. Never have played it. I don't have
yeah.
any intentions of playing it. Um, Everything I hear on the Facebook page also is like it's really not that good of a course. So again, not really worth the time. I'm not going to invest my money into something that's not going to be special or cool in any way. That's my 2 cents. We'll definitely have a further episode about that. If you guys enjoy that, let us know on Instagram
I
at
know
Chain Clankers. Go ahead, real quick.
one more game. I know Isaiah, you've probably played it. Give them a little shout out. I know it's a really nice course, and I think it was designed by Eric, but the farm down in Winfield.
Yeah, yeah. I would Tyson is like the shout out to him. Tyson is like the one who wanted to get a course out there, and so that course is amazing. So I think Tyson called him up, and Eric and asked about a course design. And of course, if you don't see it on YouTube, all the course design videos that they've gone through and the process of going through it, I would highly suggest to just look at those. And if you're looking at a course design and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to do it myself, I would call up Eric and just have him help you out. And I think he's a really good influence of
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
for
we
sure.
would love to get him on here and chat, just like to go through that process of like what his steps of going through designing a course. But yeah, definitely. If any of you guys are ever in Kansas, if you're like it's more southern mid Kansas, in Winfield, the farm, we haven't played it yet, but it's a beautiful course. Like he said, you can look up the videos on YouTube. But it's a super super nice course. That one is pay to play. They do a couple tournaments. They do one where it's over the weekend. You can camp overnight. You pay for your camping fees, and you play. You play, I think, one doubles and then a glow night, and then.
Are you guys talking about the classic?
Yeah.
I would highly suggest going up to that one. In like pay to play courses, that's a really good one because they're paying a lot of effort into it. They're building bridges, making the course look better, adding these turf tees, and I think Tyson scooped out a lot of money just to buy, I think it was football field from a high school or something, and he cut them up to look like the tee pads, and then I think he put it on the tee pad of where it used to be, and then like folded it over with mulch to make it look like it was like that. But honestly, it's a really good. I was highly suggest to go play that one.
Yeah,
You
definitely
guys
want
have
to
a
play
lot of
that
fun.
tournament.
Yeah, I would honestly.
And
Worth
then
it.
one more that I think's really cool. I know there's a video on YouTube about it. The one that Eric designed up in Alaska, that course looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely would love to have him come on and talk about that more. But I think we are ready to get into the ace round. So let's go ahead and do that. These are the same 5 questions that we like to ask everyone that comes on the podcast and just kind of see how their answers differ. I think we're going to have a really fun ace round today. If you did not check out last episode, we did change up one of the questions, and we're going to be continuing with that change moving forward. So let's start here with the first question. So Isaiah, you're taking a buddy to go buy their first set of discs. What is the one putter, one mid, and one driver you would tell them to get?
The putter would be a deputy. Honestly, it's I wouldn't say Warden because I think it would be too overstable for them. And it's shallow. It's really easy to use. I think the Bounty is another good one. Again, it's shallow. It's not like a Justice or a Verdict because that's just too much disc for them. And then the Breakout would be the driver just because it's just like it complements the rest of them. It's straight, and I think at first it would be overstable to straight or overstable to straight. But once they, started getting a bigger arm, you can definitely step up to like a Witness or a Escape, honestly. So that would be my 3 disc.
Cool. All right. Question number 2: your favorite course that you have played and the number 1 on your bucket list to play.
La Mirada, honestly, it's I love that course to death. It used to be Huntington Beach, like I said, but when it started getting a lot of traffic, I couldn't hardly play it anymore. So La Mirada, it's not as busy as Huntington Beach, but it can get busy. I think if you guys go to the West Coast, South SoCal, honestly, I would hit that course up. I feel like it's similar to these courses in Kansas, but I mean, you get the compliments of tall palm trees and sand all over the place. And then the other course would be Milo McIver. I just love how tall those trees are, like 40 feet in the air or whatever. And I think it's cool because the fairways are blocked off with they follow the tall pine trees follow the fairways, and I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm literally kicking myself because I literally spent like 4 days in Huntington Beach and in Long Beach. I was there for a college debate trip, nonetheless. Yeah, I literally spent like 4 days there, and I didn't slang one time. And I continue to hear how good the courses are around there, and I'm literally I kick myself every time someone brings it up. So that's tough. Definitely do want to go back out there and hit those courses up for sure. Let's talk about our third question here. What is one tip you would give yourself if you could like go back to when you first started playing disc golf? What would be the one tip you'd give yourself?
It would be keep putting and don't slack on your dream. Just because, I mean, it's not in the beginning of my disc golf career, but it was towards a quarter of the way through my disc golf career up till now. I think after I would get done playing, I would grab a pizza and a Mountain Dew, and I would go downstairs and game for about 4 hours. And I'm disappointed with myself because if I were to put if I were to go putt and do these things like I'm doing now, I think I would be a lot more consistent and a better putter. But I think I dropped drinking pop, and I hardly eat pizza anymore. So I think I changed my ways from, I think that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So
Nice.
I
That's
changed up
awesome.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the difference is those players, especially at the pro level, the ones who take it seriously and the one who, they just play for fun and to them it's just a game. So that's awesome. All right, question number 4. Your favorite memory playing disc golf?
My favorite, I have favorite, not really like a one I can think of off the top of my head, but it was making my dad proud after Junior Worlds and 2010 or 2019 match play, because I just love when my dad gets happy. And I like making my dad happy and my family, but especially my dad, because I think he deserved it. He's a hardworking man, and just making him proud, it's really heartwarming.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome. That was a really good video up there on YouTube to watch. So if you haven't, definitely check it out. And hey, that's now back-to-back episodes with shout outs to their dads. So
Yeah.
I want all of you listeners, go out there and tell your dad you love them and you appreciate them. And yeah, so let's close it out here. We've got our last question. Number 5, what is the biggest mistake you see new players make?
I don't know if you guys see this, but they try too hard or try to throw as far as an experienced player. So they try to rip it as hard as they can, and sometimes they hurt themselves. But I don't think they should go out there and rip it as hard as they can, try to get those 400, 500 feet distance. I think they should just go out there, start at standstills, and they shouldn't try as hard as these other players.
Definitely this guy.
Yeah, I know when I started, I definitely would try to rip it because I just thought that was the only way to get distance, But once I started to slow down and not necessarily trying to just force the disc, I started getting cleaner shots, more accurate, and actually getting more distance. Once I stopped trying super hard, that's when I started to get real distance. Because usually when you rip it, you just get horrible shots. So.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. Literally, I went out for a fieldwork session, didn't bother to stretch or warm up or anything. I took my distance drivers and just absolutely tried to throw as hard as I possibly could. Heard a pop in my hip, and my hip has not been the same since then.
That actually happened to me before. I think it was like 2017 or 16 GBO. Me and Bruce Bruce and I went to go out and practice country club. And I don't know if you remember, hole 1 used to be on top by the swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go smash one as hard as I can, and something popped, and I couldn't stand up straight.
Yep.
I was bent over the whole time.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened to me. How long did it take for you to get over it?
I think it was about a week or 2.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but it hasn't been as bad recently. I think some of my form fixes have kind of helped a little bit, but I will I'll keep going. And if I go too hard, it won't necessarily hurt, but it'll kind of feel sore, and I kind of will have that in the back of my head. I won't be able to throw as hard. New injury for everyone at home. My back hurts very bad. Stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for our video where I play around with the tilt. I literally throw a forehand and I sound like I break my back. I don't know what I did in the gym, but something is not right. I feel like that guy in some SpongeBob episode where like he's just in the full body cast. I feel like that's who I am right now in disc golf. I'm just in a full body cast. But Isaiah, man, we really do appreciate you coming on. I think we had a really fun conversation today. Are there any sponsors or anyone you want to thank before we get out of here?
Well, first I want to thank my sponsors, thank my sponsors who got me started. Dynamic Disc, of course, for getting me the Supreme Plastic. I also want to thank Truly Unique for being by my side, always asking if I need help. Team Trilogy for getting me the cool disc, and Well Sacks for supplying me with some good dirt bags. I think when I first started playing, I used the green birdie bags, like the green, like they're kind of like sawdust powdered ones in the little white bags. And then whenever I switched over to Well Sacks when I got sponsored by them, I think I seen a whole new difference. They look cool and they did their job really good. And so I want to shout out to them.
Cool, man. Well, that's it from us. Thank you so much for coming on, taking the time, and hopefully you get to play some disc golf this weekend.
Yep.
Definitely, if you're ever down here in Wichita, definitely hit us up. Like to play around, and good luck to you this season.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.